Good morning, good morning, and welcome to a conversation between two friends, publisher, an author, and a publisher. I am Saudia Davis, and this is Melissa G. Wilson. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
So, Melissa, our last conversation, gosh, every 2 weeks or every other week, it just feels so far. So much happens in our lives between the
Mhm.
times we get together to share our conversations with our friends on LinkedIn and YouTube. Um, the last time we were together, I think we were definitely taking a moment to honor life because of the unfortunate tragedy in Highland Park.
Yes.
And, we understand that when individuals really understand their value in themselves and life and feel valued, they value the life of others. And so today, we want to talk about some of those goodies around publishing and how you can find your value and worth and thus eventually get to some of that wealth through publishing. So, Melissa, talk to me. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. And you're doing well?
I am. We just were in Washington, D.C. for the weekend, which was incredible
Yes.
because I had the opportunity to go to the African American History. Well, it's the African American Museum of History and Culture at the
Wow.
Smithsonian. And
Mhm.
it was such an incredible experience. And especially after having worked on Trial in the Delta, the Murder of Emmett Till, which is a production that Collaboration and NBC Chicago produced together, to actually see Emmett Till's casket and the story, it was
Mm.
really intense, but it also felt like a full circle moment. Even though I'm no longer with Collaboration, that work that we produced will live on, and I'm excited. I can't wait for it to show up on NBC and the Peacock. So today is a great day. The weekend was amazing. And you look sunny and bright over there, over in the West Loop.
Yes, yes. Same over you on the over on the Gold Coast, right? Yeah.
Yeah, both here in Chicago on a sunny, hot, steamy day.
Yes.
So, um, listen, we have conversations about what we're going to have a conversation about, just so that we're clear in our 30 minutes. And one of the things that you and I were talking about
Mhm.
is, this idea around self discovery and understanding your self awareness and how that plays into what you're potentially writing, or how that plays into how you as an individual
Mhm.
understand how you impact those around you, right?
Exactly. And what we were talking about, and I shared, is that I keep finding authors experiencing the epiphany that they're breaking through to another level of awareness of themselves. And I'm sure you experienced that in your writing too. When you first wrote your book, but then what happened after that? You went to another level after in the rewriting and editing?
Absolutely. It's like you think you have an idea of what you want to write. Then,
Mhm.
as you start writing, the stories become very clear. And then you realize how what you're writing is going to impact someone else, which then makes you think about how you as an individual are impacting others. Or what is it that you're bringing and putting forth into the world that's going to have a positive impact? So, yes, you become more self aware. And I actually am in the process right now of doing an audiobook for another author,
Mhm.
right? And
Yes.
I'll say her name, Irma Perone. And I'm telling you, her book Win X, it's it's interesting because I'm here to do the audio. But as an individual, I'm actually realizing what she's talking about in her text, how that's impacting my life in a very positive way. Like making a decision is a decision, and not deciding to decide is also a decision. Her Win X program is phenomenal, and I'm so excited to be a part of this process of bringing this work to life for her in voice, in audio. But Melissa, I'm telling you, bringing it to life for her as an author working with you, talk to me a little bit about this, because I think we need to have Irma on to talk about her process. But for us, having been part of that development, it's just incredible.
The one thing I always tell the authors is that when they get that first draft of that book done,
Oh,
very different. They're in a whole new place, but they have to trust to get to that first touchdown, if you will. I'm going to give a football analogy, or home run. Let's get to the end of it, because up until then, it feels more like a series of pieces of content that you aren't as connected to. But the minute you finish that first draft, the magic happens, and it happens every time. And then it can happen again, through various drafts. But the insights are so much fun for the authors, and it's magical to watch how that awareness bubbles up. It's always a surprise, I will say.
well, surprises are fun.
Yes,
And
a
I
good
love
surprise. Yes.
And I love when magic happens. I mean, that's one of the things that I say, make magic happen, right? Make it a great day, because we get to choose, we get to decide. And speaking of that, let's put it into the context of the real world, right? Like having self-awareness and how that applies in your business.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I would say is that as I've been, like I said, doing the audio on a book that's about winning exponentially in business, in the workplace, and in your personal life, it's really been impactful because, as I mentioned when we started at the top, sometimes when we're not, and I'm going to use the we as general we, self-aware, we can actually be impacting people, I like positive ways, but some individuals are not aware and impact individuals in negative ways. And how do you, as an individual, determine that for yourself? Do you listen when people are giving you really good feedback? Are you defensive? Or do you listen and take action to make a change? What do you think about that, Melissa? I mean, you're working with thought leaders, innovators, individuals who want to take what they've learned and experienced and put it into a book form. So in terms of personality types, talk to us a little bit about that.
I think you make a very good point there about this intensive self-awareness. And I've said it before, and I think I've said it here, most of us live our lives an inch deep and a mile wide. And when you go into self-awareness, you're going to go a mile deep and an inch wide, maybe, or more. I mean, you can do it with content. And I think that's what the other compelling insight I have around going beyond a blog, going beyond posting on social media. It's getting to a deeper place where it's like mining for gold, and you can extract that wisdom and share it. And you do become more and more aware about how your wisdom is reaching others. So, quick example, I sent out an email this week about a course, a networking course that I created for Billy Dexter and myself on Billy's book, Making Your Network. And one person I've never heard from my mailing list sent me a note and said, "Thank you for all the information and wisdom you've been sharing for years." And it helped me see there's value there, in what I'm saying, and encouraged me to do more of it because I love to share. What do you think about that?
I think it's incredible, because I wondered, had you known that this person, you had been impacting them for many years?
Not at all. No.
See, and that's the key. We don't always know
Many
how we're
times, yeah.
impacting other individuals, right? And
Yeah.
here's the thing that I really believe, and I've had this, like I said in my book, 33 Ways Not to Screw Up Creative Entrepreneurship, I was coached early by Francis Ford Coppola. It was one moment in time where I was working for his son, Roman Coppola, and Francis was very sensitive. And he said, "Can I sit next to you?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "Do you want to be in this business?" And he goes, "Because you are so sweet. I've been watching you." And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Okay, here's the thing. Don't let anyone change who you are. If you can remain as sweet as you are, you will do very well and you will go very far in our business because people work with who they like." And here's where I'm going. I have done my best to maintain that joy, that sweetness. And it's hard sometimes in business because people are competitive, they're territorial, they're like, "My idea is the right way." And you're like, "Okay, but when you feel compelled because you have a job and you're hired, you also want to make sure that they value because they hire you. But if they're not open to what you bring to the table, it makes it very tricky." And so I believe it's so important that no matter what, even if your job or your role is difficult or others don't understand you, it's important for you to understand who you are, not change it. Be very self-aware because even if relationships stay or go, you've always left a great impression. I think it's best to leave doors open, right?
Yeah,
Because you never know.
that's
Never
true.
know. And it's so exciting. Like, there have been some incredible things that have happened in this last week. And I'm so proud for everyone who's achieving great things. But it's so critical. And I think, especially when we become authors, because we have developed friends, relationships, we want to buy our books, right?
Mhm. That's right. It's a journey that I love taking to see people who have so much wisdom already gain even further wisdom. So take Irma, for example. In working with her, we did a lot more investigating. When I say we, a researcher and I, investigating other decision making systems, processes. And that gave her more awareness and clarity about what she wanted to say that was different, that would add value. So the other line I like to use a lot is, we don't really live in an either or world. It's not black or white. It really is gray. There's much play in that middle space.
Yeah.
And that's truly where self-awareness and artistry blossom.
And that's good a point. That's a really good point in terms of artistry, because I think for sure I'm a creative.
Yeah.
And creatives think, work differently. We have ideas. I tend to be a bit more organized with some of my ideas. As I say in 33 Ways Not to Screw Up Creative Entrepreneurship, there's scatterization. Some
Yeah.
individuals feel like they thrive in chaos. And I'm like, ooh, you can thrive in chaos up to a point. But if you want to go far, it requires some systems of organization, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that creativity happens and it's magical. And as a writer now, or with author status, as you say, um, it puts us in a different position because having now done that, I see different gaps and opportunities, right? Where
Mhm.
we can draw on some of our creative talents. And now, like I said, I'm doing an audio. I'm a voiceover talent. I have Screen Actors Guild status, but this is the first time I'm actually doing one. But in having authored a piece, I now understand the value of the marketing piece, Melissa. And that has been just a tremendous difference. Now, in terms of, oh, we've got a comment. Let's take a look. But Melissa, in terms of marketing, we're talking about authors realizing their voice,
Yeah.
understanding how they impact others. Talk to us a little bit about the marketing piece, because I know as they're writing, it's hard to talk about that part.
Right. Well, authors have a very difficult time with keeping or adding in the element of marketing while they're writing their book. And I was just talking with somebody yesterday who I can tell when their voices don't quiver, they're coming along with me, because it is overwhelming. You're sitting there and so worried, probably jettisoning back to second grade when they started to write things, or fourth grade maybe, when they had a book report, or whatever it was.
Right.
That horrible feeling of it's going to be terrible. I don't know what to do. But getting the courage up to move along on your writing journey. And my suggestion for authors so often is, let's get your book title and cover done even in the first or second month, and start sharing it out there so you're taking other people along with your journey. And it shouldn't be scary. It should be people coming along, just as we're talking about, enjoying the ride with you, and stay with it. Because the one thing I know, like I say, it's all about brave leaders, terrified authors. There are a lot of terrified authors, and I was one of them.
Yeah.
And being a book coach now has helped so much me heal from all those years of trepidation in writing. But it's so useful. There's nothing like the writer's journey.
And speaking of that, let's see if I have something to share. Give me one moment. Okay, so I'm going to show these. So Melissa, speaking of something that's very important. So as an author, I realized, oh my gosh, after the book is published, how important the marketing before the book is
Yes.
important. So I now offer the opportunity to help authors create marketing tools for their book. So I'm just going to go through a couple of things. Let's see. This is a great opportunity to be able to give authors the essentials, even if there isn't an actual book cover yet, or if you don't have a website.
Right. It can be a blank cover saying coming soon, book coming soon. Just so I like to say, here are the stages in marketing. The first stage is awareness. If people don't know that you're out there, how are they going to follow in any way? And awareness, I say aware stands for attention with action realizes excellence. So you got to take action, like having tools like this. Then there's recognition that there's relevance. People who feel the relevance will connect. Then there's ownership. You'll start to move over, your fan base will start to move over into owning, hey, we want this. We love creative entrepreneurship, as an example. Why would we do anything else as entrepreneurs? Because we're creators, and creators are the ones who are the innovators, and et cetera, et cetera. And the final stage is leverage, where they tell others about it. And you want to move through all those stages.
Speaking of an author, Irma Brown. Hi, Irma. She's like, hi, ladies. Just wanted to say hi back to you. So happy that you're watching us right now. We look forward to inviting you on probably in the next couple of weeks so that you can speak to this new book that you have, which, by the way, everybody can go on to Amazon.com and find WinX. It's WINX. I didn't get your permission earlier, Irma, to put your book cover up, but we'll be sure to do that when we bring you on. So it's good to see you. Hi back.
I like that. That was cool. Yes, and I do have a tip, because we want to give these really sound, sustainable tips that you can use. Yesterday, I was with a new author, and what should I be doing? And I said, oh, here are the things you should be doing. And I know you're going to laugh, Saudia. I gave him, I think I was on 10 things when he went, oh, I can't do all those things. So I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. And this is the tip that I think would be helpful. I came up with 3 things to start with, wrote them down, 1, 2, 3, and sent them by email. And so he can accomplish that, in more digestible nuggets. And he was most happy about that. So think of the idea of just if you are a list creator, utilize the list and just pick three at a time. Go through, check off the list, and then move on, to create another list. And so even if you reach out to colleagues, like you and I have talked over and over about Saudia, your ability around voiceovers and the fact that I said to you, and it's nothing against other women who have high voices, but I like a deeper voice because I can hear better with books being read, and so I that encouragement, to go out and help others with their books, with audioing books, could be a good idea. So the as we evolve and become more and more aware, we start to look at opportunities where we can offer support maybe that we never even thought about before.
That's such a good point, Melissa. And I think that self-awareness is so key, because you as an individual, if you're an individual who is, in a sense, discovering or rediscovering who you are, if you're an individual who maybe has a desire to write a book, like Melissa said, but you're just not quite there yet. I know so many people who say, I have a book, but I can't seem to get to the place of writing it all down. The good news is that having that self-awareness really helps to locate and help you identify other skills that you may not have realized you have. And I think that that is what we're talking about. The more as an individual you explore, the more you read. Like I said, I'm reading somebody else's book and I'm like, oh my God, this is inspiring my life right now as a woman in business, as an entrepreneur. And it's also given me space to think about the importance of doing what we love, right? We are so fortunate in this country to be able to choose what we love, either create it or find it and make it happen. And so what I would say is one of my tips for today
Mm.
for individuals to go out there and explore themselves, figure out what drives you, what makes you happy and happening, right?
Right.
And with joy, the wealth will follow, right? Because we're talking about prosperity through publishing and wealth to worth. But if you flip it and say your worth, right, and understanding that can
Mhm.
help you find the wealth that you seek in your life. And when we talk about wealth, we're talking about the opportunities that provide you to live comfortably, to not
Mhm.
be stressed out, right? That's what we're
Right.
talking.
Right. And when you're aware of your worth, then others become more aware. And another tip that I would make and have made, and people have tried it, is go ask three people who know you well and ask them what they think are your top three areas that you shine in. And I guarantee you, you will be surprised at the answers. You're not going to get what you expect. They are surprises, and this will be a wonderful opportunity for you to see these potential roadways, because before Saudia, I said, hey, audio for authors, that's a good path for you. You didn't see the path, and I saw it. So a lot of people, I say, one other tip, hold your hand out as far as you can and see the word aware on it, but move it up all the way up to your eyes and you can't see the word anymore. That's where that it's inside of us. We got to pull it out. Others can help us. Your self-reflection will help you, and it's this ongoing questioning of where can I deliver the essence of all that where my energy is, where my passion is. It takes you and others. It takes a village, maybe.
It takes a village. And like Irma says here, you know, if I can do it, anyone can do it, right? Believe
Mhm.
in yourself. If you know, like, she can do it, we can do it, you can do it. And I think that, yeah, I mean, here we are. Every day is different. and we get to decide how we live it. And I
Beautiful.
am so happy to have incredible experiences in life and friends and people like you, Melissa, who are encouraging. I mean, individuals who are advisors. That's the other thing. I'll share another tip. If you've never had a mentor, go find one.
Right.
You ask someone to maybe give 15 minutes of their time, just 15 minutes,
Right.
maybe once a month.
Right.
And you'll find that it doesn't matter who that person is. I once asked, oh my gosh, Wagner. She's this incredible, Paula Wagner is one of the top two producers in Hollywood, right? And I had this opportunity to meet her, and I just said, can I just have 15 minutes of your time? She's like, how would I mentor you? I'm in Hollywood, you're in Chicago. And yet she did. And there was one thing that she offered, which was tremendous, is that her company is called, what is it? Oh, shoot. I wish I had an intern to look it up for me right now. But anyway, it's
Fine. Okay.
like West Ridge Road or Acorn Place. It's not. But the point is that she said, when you're choosing your business name, choose something that has meaning to you, but that is not readily identifiable. And so maybe before we get off in 3 minutes, I'll find Chestnut Ridge. Sorry, that's it. Chestnut Ridge is her
I could
production.
just see the synapses snapping there.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that. I like
And
all the titles.
Yeah. So, this is a woman who produced Tom Cruise's movies, and like Chestnut Ridge. So here we go. I created Redwood Cove. Ask me why.
Oh, cool. Why?
So why is because Redwoods is where I grew up in Muir Beach. There are redwoods all around Muir Woods. And the cove represents the ocean, parts of water
Oh,
to explore. And so I asked a dear friend, Kayla
beautiful.
Jones, who's amazing. I sent her a picture of a tree cookie when you cut it, and the rings around the life of a tree tell the tree's age and story. Redwoods are massive and sustainable, and that's what I wanted to imbue into my company. So Redwood Cove, thanks to Paula Wagner and Chestnut Ridge, I hope that's the name of her production company, but we'll find out. Listen, no one's perfect, and I definitely am not, but that little bit of advice really helped shape what the name of my company is. And did we have an ongoing mentorship? No, but that one piece of advice. So I encourage individuals, if you are enamored, fascinated, or inspired by a particular person, ask for 15 minutes. See what happens.
I love that. That's so useful. And you may be scared to death to do that, but do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Because why? If you can do it, anyone can do it. And that's Irma. I think she's saying if she can do it, then anybody can do it. And she did it. She's doing it. So go do it for yourself. Here's the thing. I'm going to put your information up there, Melissa, because for individuals who, now having written and had the joy of working with Melissa G. Wilson, I absolutely understand how that kind of coaching really, really helps authors along. So for anybody who's like, oh my God, how do I do it? Or I've written something, I just don't know what to do with it. I hear that a lot, Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of written, right?
Right. That's true. And knowing how to use what you have and even repurpose it, no matter what, your content is wealth, and it will develop in worth. It can develop through editing. It can develop through support of others. And one of the things that you've experienced, Saudia, is by audioing someone's book, you are going deeper and it's touching you more deeply. So this type of magic of books, reading books and audioing books, I believe we're just at the tip of the iceberg with the opportunities for audio.
Yeah, well, I'm on my way to the studio today. It's so funny. I've been in a box. I did post, and I'll post some more. I've got to give credit to my audio engineer. Oh my God, Bravo is amazing, you guys. And it's so hard for me not to drop music behind it. I have to talk to my client. We talked about that. So
That's
I will
great.
say that
Yeah.
it's so fun, you know, as an actor, historically, I don't talk about being an actor, but I have the skill.
Yeah.
And I'm reading these stories and I'm getting into it. And I asked my client, I was like, well, you know, some books are read like this. And when they're read like this, I'm like, as a person listening, I would be a little bored. So
Yeah.
I imbue with some energy because in
Yeah.
this case, decisions are made because of emotion.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun. And the other thing is the editing process, I was told, takes as long as the audio recording. So I'm like, uh-oh. So, so I'm excited. This week is the editing. And I've even just created systems of efficiency in this process. I'm really excited, Melissa. So I'm on my way off to the studio up north. Again, giving Bravo his studio over at Fort Knox is just awesome. He creates an incredibly comfortable environment, and the sound, I can't wait for everybody to hear it.
Love it. Love it. Like the music idea too. I'm like, all of a sudden my brain just went,
I know. You know, not this book, but we'll work on it for others because, you know, when you're telling a story, what if there is ocean sound in the background? You know, he popped that in my head. I'm like, oh, that's
okay. Well, I've got a title too. We'll do the book together, Music and Magic. And it will be
nice.
this great story, and we'll have music throughout it on the audio.
I love it. And I love you, Melissa G. Wilson. Everybody out there, make it a great day.